a good mental fight. That mentally he came to a tough situation.
Virgil back here. Straight back. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I have two questions. My first one is, it seemed early, second round, I think it was, Chris cracked Amir with a really, really good shot that sort of seemingly buckled Amir. Did you get any sense in the corner that he was hurt by that and that he needed a couple of rounds to kind of get himself together? And if so, what were you telling him to do early on to sort of bring himself back, how he had a dominant first round?
Well, you know, by having Amir now for a couple of years, he can get hit with a punch sometimes, and sometimes he'll take different steps and be on the move. He can really improve the eye. I think if you notice, whenever he was really hurt by a punch, either he went down, or I don't think we've ever seen him really buckle, except the Madonna punch, where it was obvious that he was hurt. But I think as long as he sees what's coming, that he can handle it, as he proved with the Madonna punch, was probably one of the hardest punches he's taken, but he saw the punch. The other punches he never saw, so but he showed that he had that resilience by getting up. I mean, not too many people took the Garcia punch, but and got up. He got up and he was actually winning the round. He just went out and didn't think the next round. If he would have, he'd have won that fight. So, you know, I've learned from different fighters, if they get hit with a punch, Amir has such fast reflexes that you can hit him when he's starting a punch, so he can get caught off balance. But if he's hurt, what I've observed, he won't fight back. But immediately he came back with the right type of punch. So I'm not saying it didn't buzz him. I didn't ask him, and he didn't complain about it. But he kept his head in the mouth of the cannon all night. So I think he just sweating. So I don't think I'll ask him.
Virgil, my second question for you is, you know, you mentioned the pressure because of all the questions about Floyd Mayweather. Seeing what you saw tonight, which ultimately was a fairly clear decision victory for him here. Plan A, or number A, letter A is now over, and now the questions about Floyd will start again. Can you give me your perspective on the prospect in your mind of Amir matching up with Floyd Mayweather Jr.?
Well, you know, I've been honest with him. When it comes to Floyd, that it's a fight that he's going to have to be real diligent about his preparation, and he's going to have to do what a young buck can do. He's going to have to fight over his head. You know, and every fighter, when they have the youth and they just keep going in the game and they sort of get in the groove one night, it's like Buster Douglas, anybody. They can just take it to another level youth-wise. But I've always been honest with him and said his IQ will never match Floyd Mayweather's IQ, because the years of repetition and day in and day out doing the same thing, his body just and mind just processes real quick. And that's the gift that he has. So you have to offset that with youth, just like we've seen in sports. You know, back to Villanova with Howard Porter. I mean, never was a good NBA player, but one night he lit up somebody in the championship game because he just played over his head. You know, and I think he has the attributes to take it to that level. And if he can lock in and prepare himself right for a fight of that magnitude and handle the pressure that comes along with it, I'm confident he'll give a little account of himself.
Virgil, you spoke about the questions, and obviously everyone's going to ask Mayweather Pacquiao being the next option, but I'd like to ask about Keith Thurman. He's been very vocal as far as Khan's opponents and the way that Khan chooses his opponents. What would you think of a matchup between Khan and Keith Thurman, being as though that they have a common opponent in Julio Diaz, and now they'll have them with Luis Collazo once that fight happens?
Well, I think when you look at a scenario like that, styles make matches. You know, I know Keith is a very vocal young man, confident in his abilities. But if I have to be honest, you know, Keith has stepped up a little bit himself. You don't see the knockouts like you used to see them. You know, when you start going up in the A-leagues, they don't come as easy. And, you know, by the media saying Town is cheating and that and the other, we ain't supposed to talk like that, but there's things I know about Keith Thurman that I won't say that you better watch his chin too. So, I know him way back from Hamilton. I can tell you some things are shocking, but I don't know. But, you know, at some point that fight's probably going to materialize. I think Keith has a right to follow a path to maximize his earning potential. And these kids have to be careful not to be brought so soon to a match because other people want to see it. And then the match is over now where, I mean, you have paths in that welterweight division that can be carved out and you can make some real great fights. But the fighters really deserve to be compensated for a fight of that magnitude and not just take it because somebody wants to see them fight. But I believe that that fight will materialize itself one day. And it's not going to be easy as Keith Thurman think it is.
Thank you, Virgil.
Okay, Chris is going to come in right now, and Virgil can come back.